This is Art Talk with April, an artist podcast where we meet artists from all around the southeastern states. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art Talk with April. Today we have Xavier Adams. Xavier is a photographer and aspiring cinematographer located in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you for coming on, Xavier.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how have you been doing up in Huntsville? Is it bad weather up there?
It's been a little shaky, a little dicey.
Yeah.
I think it's been like that. Feels like it's been like that for all of the South the last 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting better, hopefully.
I feel like you guys got a lot of that tough stuff at the top of the state. There's more ice, more craziness there for a little bit,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
man, I tell you what, I always thought of myself as a winter person, but I might be a summer person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after these 2 weeks, I told myself like whoever's still claims to be a winter person and they say they prefer the cold, I'm gonna be side-eyeing them like,
Yeah. Like I
no,
literally have I have heat in my house. I've got an extra heater under my desk right now because
bro.
I'm like, I'm freezing. I can't
Yeah,
handle it.
I see how people do it. It's just crazy.
Well, so as a photographer, are you self-taught or did you go to school or what is your past there?
So I'll kind of say a mix of both. As far as like the general basics, I would say I was taught in school. I'm starting in senior year of high school, but then as I started to go into the film photography side, a lot of that was more self-taught. So I was taught like digital basics, like the regular photography, I guess most people do
Sure.
nowadays, but this more niche stuff, I kind of taught myself.
Okay. So did you grow up like wanting to go into art, creative fields, or how'd you get
Um,
started thinking about that? How did it come across? How did it happen that you went into photography?
yeah, so growing up for the bulk of my childhood, I would say no, but my older sister, I would watch her a lot, and she was always more on the artsy side. She does mainly painting, so I would just see her do painting, but I realized I can't draw, I can't paint, so I kind of felt like it was a lost cause until like probably I think my junior year of high school. I took this film studies class
Oh,
where
yeah.
basically we would just watch movies every day,
Yeah.
and then we would write essays about it, whatnot. And doing that, I just fell in love with it. Some days, I'm not gonna lie, some days I would fall asleep in the movies, but it's because we gotta wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock every day. You're gonna try to find time to sleep in whenever you can. But
Yeah.
when I was awake, I was invested. I loved it. I would back then when Netflix would have the movies you could actually like rent and they would like ship the DVDs to you.
Oh, yeah.
Every weekend I was just watching something, trying to watch some of the classics, Godfather, Scorsese's movies, all of that. And I
Right.
was really becoming invested in the process. And then that's when I kind of realized like I think film, if I'm gonna do any type of art,
Mhm.
filmmaking is where I have to make my way in. Because I always felt like I was more I was weird enough that if I did go into the arts, it would probably be worthwhile for me, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
You had ideas, you had those thoughts. You were like, I need to make something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And even like back in like fifth grade, wow, I always loved watching like the Oscars and like award season. In like fifth grade, I don't know why like I started hitting me like, ooh, maybe I could do acting. And I always like in the back of my mind, in fifth grade, I was like acting, acting, acting. But I was like, I was becoming more realist, and my parents were military, and they kind of were like trying to push me away from that. So I leaned away from acting for a few years. But then once I started like getting into filmmaking again, I was like, I'll stay behind the camera if I were to pursue this.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really interesting because I mean that's just another creative field. It's just different. You're putting yourself behind the camera instead of being in front of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you primarily use digital or have you moved over to film?
I would say in the last about 5 years, I'm like, if I were to give it like a percentage, I'm like 80% film, 20% digital.
Wow. And why did you go over to film instead of digital? Because I mean, don't most people kind of do digital these days?
For sure. And I think that's probably why I decided to get into the film side because senior year of high school, I took the photography course. And when I took it, all I had to shoot was my iPhone at the time. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but once I got into college and I was taking classes, photography wise, I really wasn't feeling it. I got like a digital camera while I was in college, and I would
Mm,
just shoot it like recreationally, but I didn't
yeah.
like love it. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I was fumbling around, and I was kind of just shooting like on autopilot.
Yeah.
But then once I graduated college, that's when I decided to get into film photography, and then once that happened. That's when what everyone talks about with film photography, slowed things down, very intentional with the shots, getting the film back, just seeing the whole process of developing the film and whatnot. That's when I was really became invested into it and really understanding, I guess, photography as a medium, as a storytelling device, as what it was kind of meant to do. And I feel like because everyone's so used to the digital photography, specifically with like phone cameras, I think a lot of times I get lost in the weeds. And I think like film photography kind of brought me back home, in a
Mm,
sense.
yeah, more hands-on, definitely. I actually had a course in photography in college.
Mhm.
And I don't know, man, developing film, that's a whole like touchy process in itself.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you have to be good at it. And
Mhm.
you really are. Like, I love your work. And especially like a lot of the times, the way that you're sort of getting your composition in the image and the way
Mhm.
that you've, I don't know, propped it or the color or the textures. It's really awesome. Are you doing any kind of like Photoshop work with it, or are you primarily, doing things with the film? Like, how are you editing and things like that?
Mainly when it comes to digital photography, I'll edit away because that's a lot of times with digital photography, that's where you kind of make
Yeah.
the photo. But with film photography, I rarely edit. Like I'll always put when I get the scans back from my film, I'll always put it through Lightroom just to like small, like really small minor edits or cropping and whatnot. But as far as
Yeah.
like making the picture, no, I try not to touch it too much because I feel like you're kind of if I gotta touch my film photos too much in like the Lightroom side, that means I didn't shoot it well enough
Oh,
in the
yeah.
moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But if anything, sometimes depending on who I'm shooting with, like if I shoot my sister because she's very nitpicky and like if she has like blemishes or whatnot or like acne, I will, even for a film photo, I will touch up and do like a little Photoshop just on like the stuff. But in terms of like manipulating background and using
Yeah.
colors, I rarely ever do that to the film photos.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I think that, I like what you said there. I think touching it too much, it's like, okay, how much of this is me being a good photographer and how much of this is me being a good editor? Like,
Exactly.
where do you draw the line?
Precisely. And I feel like even with me doing that, just even me doing that with just even running through Lightroom at all, some film photographers might feel like that's kind of like a cardinal sin. I know I was talking to one guy a few weeks ago, and he was showing me some of the photos he got on this expired film. And I was like, did you touch it? I was like, did you touch it up any in Lightroom? He was like, no. He was like, nah. He was like, I never put the film photos through Lightroom. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I still like I always feel like putting him through Lightrooms kind of just feels like a safe keep for me. But I feel like once I'm like really where I want to be, I won't even use Lightroom like for for my film photos, honestly. But like I said, it's everyone's process. I know some people they'll do a lot of touch ups in Photoshop or Lightroom with their film photos. I personally I try to limit it because I don't want to be too dependent on it.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you, so I was reading through your information and looking at your website and everything. It seems like you doing sort of, I guess, like commission work where you're taking pictures, people's pictures, but you've been in some shows and galleries and stuff. And so I guess, do you have like sort of more of a creative personal work versus like hired photography that you're doing?
Uh, for sure. I don't, when I say this, I don't want to like ruin my promotion or whatever, but as far as when it's all said and done, I'm trying to be, I've always said I want to be in the walls of museums instead of the walls of people's homes.
Mm,
Um, I I'm more than fine with shooting bookings for people and photo shoots for other people. Like I'm more than fine. I'll shoot it any day of the week. But my bread and butter, what I really want my legacy to be is museums, galleries, exhibitions. I want to be able to have my own work in spaces where other people can come visit, as opposed to people kind of like personally having the photos I've shot of them.
oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and it's hard because the money comes a lot of times the money comes from just shooting people and just doing shoots. And my
Mm,
parents, everyone's always telling me they're like, you should do this, you should talk to this business and this, that, and the third, yada yada yada, like promote, promote, promote. And I'm just like, I get that, I really do, but I feel like a certain point is just like it becomes more of a business, and it's not like I don't want to do this for business. I want to do this for art. And I think I was talking to one of my friends about it recently, and he was like when taking those types of photos, I guess the artsy photos, like the exhibition photos,
yeah.
it's kind of like being selfish, I guess, because you're creating for yourself.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm very selfish right now. Like I just want to, I want to create for myself as much as I can, so I can maybe learn more about myself and as a person, as opposed to just shooting for other people and trying to get
Yeah.
their vision across.
Yeah, I think and I don't know about other people, but for me, that was a big deal. Like trying to figure out, am I wanting to like draw and paint for other people and
Mm,
like do portraits or,
mhm.
draw people's houses or whatever? Or is this about me wanting to express myself and like make something that means something to me, and
Yeah,
say something basically?
exactly.
And, a lot of people do think it's selfish. And I'm like, well, I mean, you want to have a voice, you want to have agency, you want to be able to
Mhm.
say what is important to you, and
Mhm.
a lot of times out there they'll say, someone else is going to be drawn to and connect with something real that you're creating, something that you've really like this, you're putting your feelings out there and your expression out there and trying to say something.
Yeah.
And that's when other people are going to connect. And that can really, it can change people's lives sometimes. It's hard for some people to believe that, but there can be that one photo or artwork out there where you're like, man, when I saw that, I was like, that totally floored me or whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Exactly.
So like what is your like well, let's talk about your artistic stuff then. What is kind of your voice and direction there with your work? Like, are you trying to express anything in particular? Do you do series? Like, what do you do there?
Yeah, so I feel like my general theme, I would say, is solitude. And I think that's just because it's just a reflection of who I am. I can be very to myself sometimes, whether that's good or bad. And I do feel like we as a society, it's weird because I do feel like we as a society have placed too much of an emphasis on individualism, but also at the same time, I feel like even with that emphasis, a lot of us still truly don't know ourselves and truly don't take the time to be by ourselves. And we
Mm,
push individualism in terms of like policies and how we should treat others, but not as how we should like know ourselves, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I feel like I feel like if you're truly comfortable and you know yourself and you have that time with yourself, then you're able to easily spread love and positivity to other people. And I feel like we oftentimes as society or people just spread negativity and disrespect when we're trying to share spaces with others, but we don't know ourselves. And I feel like when we don't know ourselves, we kind of have fear. And when we have that fear, we kind of people spread that fear to others, and I think you're seeing that a lot now
Yeah.
in the world. So I feel like solitude is a big point of me because I feel like good solitude brings peace, and peace brings positivity.
Yeah.
Um, and with that, it's I haven't really had a chance to capture that in like a series of like a collective body of work. I
Mm,
have pieces I can take from that I've shot over the years that I can say round up to collect like as a consensus. But as far
yeah.
as like intentionally shooting like one subject. I haven't done that yet.
Mm,
Even though I have been shooting a series for the last 4 or 5 years now, centered around couples.
mm,
And I guess within that, you could say these couples have maybe a sense of solitude or a sense of that within the two of them as a relationship. And that's a project I've been very passionate about. I've been working on, like I said, for 4 or 5 years. I don't know when I'll finish shooting it at this stage, but I feel like I'm continuing to shoot that project because I'm hoping to see a sense of the relationship I eventually want to have.
mm,
Um, and I'm kind of getting inspiration from who I'm seeing and who I'm shooting. But yeah, that's probably the main series I've been working on. And then I have other series I've had planned out in my head with both with myself and in collaboration with other
mm,
photographers. But a lot of times in the meantime, 9 times out of 10, if I'm out in public, I have my camera out and I
mm.
just see somebody by themselves doing their own thing. If I can get the shot of them from a distance, I'll probably get it. But if I can just walk up to them, they seem approachable, I ask them, hey, can I get a shot of you just doing this pose? Pretend I'm not here. Shoot it, boom, 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 go from there. I'm always trying to just shoot. I'm a people watcher, so I'm always just trying to just shoot the person,
Yeah,
capture the person
kind of their natural whatever they're doing.
exactly, and emphasis on the natural, which is why a lot of times I have to battle in the moment if between should I like ask this person if I could take this photo? Because once I ask them, it's like it's not the same. It's like
Oh no,
you
it's
know.
not.
Yeah, and it's just like, but also at the same time, you want to be respectful. You want to get you want to get the
Yeah.
consent. You want to let them know. And also, a lot of times, I want the person to be able to see the photo once I get it developed and whatnot. And it's weird, like if you shoot the person, they don't see it, and then you walk them like, "Hey, I just took this photo of you," and then they're gonna be like, if I do that, people are like, "What the hell?" Like, so yeah,
Touchy, man. I can't tell. I can't.
yeah,
I don't know if I can help you there. I saw like
yeah,
a reel the other day. It was like some dude was like at a restaurant and he was sketching people. And he
yeah,
was like saying it was kind of a funny thing. He was like,
mhm,
what it feels like when I'm out sketching people. And the person that he was sketching was like, kept looking at him like, what is this
yeah,
dude doing? You're like, why are you looking at me? Like, I don't know what to do. And like getting all creeped out and they leave. And he's like, what, like I'm the crazy person for sketching the guy at the restaurant or whatever.
exactly. And that's and
But
it's like,
that's how you get those shots,
yeah.
otherwise you're doing what, landscapes and still lifes.
Exactly. And it's like, that's the part it sucks because it's like so subjective. Like with the sketch, like some people see someone's drawing a sketch of them, they're gonna be creeped out and they're like, what the hell? Other people see a person drawing a sketch, I'm like interested, and then like once they find out, some of them are like, I guess they're happy. They're like they're
Yeah, like
yeah,
or you saw something in me to feel
exactly.
creative, or that's interesting. Have you ever had a situation where someone was like, no, like, no, I don't I don't want my picture taken, or I don't want you to do
So
anything?
oh yeah, that happens. I would say I'm blessed enough at this point that typically the people are good with it, but every I would say at this rate, if I were to ask 10 people to shoot them, 2 to 3 of them are probably gonna be like, nah. Like I was in this airport in New York a few weeks ago, and I'm just looking around the airport because I love shooting at airports. And
Oh
before I
yeah.
went through the gate, and I see this one guy in this pose. I decided to ask this person. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm a photographer, yada yada yada. Would you mind if I shoot a picture of you?" He was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay." And I've gotten used to that rejection. But then right after that, I shot a couple, I shot the couple, and they were just posed, and then I got their information and whatnot. And then one of the people they reach out to me on Instagram, like once I land, and they're like, "Thank you so much for taking that photo of us." They were just extremely grateful, and I haven't.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've had someone reach out to me like that. So it's like, so for every person who says no, I'm good, the people who like accept it, appreciate it, and express that appreciation, it makes it like
Yeah.
it more than makes up for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. And so, like, to get back to your sort of your voice with the solitude and everything, when you're thinking about that with your voice and everything, are you expressing that through, I guess, the subject matter that you're taking an image of, or like through, maybe doing black and white, or,
Mm,
like what is your expression of that?
that's a great question. I would say the expression comes, yeah, I would say a lot of times the expression probably would come in the film try to use. Typically, if I'm trying to go more for that feel, that solidarity feel, I'll typically will shoot black and white because I feel like the black and white will have more of a timeless feel to it. And
Yeah.
then a lot of times it'll also be dependent on how I pose the subject or why how I decide to have the subject in the frame in terms of like where they're holding, where they're using, and just like their expressions. Yeah, I feel like mainly the solidarity and the vibe, the feel comes from the person, the actor in this case, if there is a human subject in the photo, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of how I want what I want their body to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting. And so are you doing any like art shows, like where you sell prints and things like that, or are you primarily looking to get in galleries and things?
I'm primarily looking to get in galleries, but a lot of times the galleries you can also sell. So like next week, next Thursday, I actually will be in a few of my pieces will be exhibited in a gallery,
Yeah.
and it's going to be on display for like 2 weeks, but people will still have the option to buy the print or buy the piece once the exhibition's over with. Um,
Okay.
so that's the space I'm in right now. But eventually I do want to get in the space of having a permanent piece in the museum. Like you
Mm,
go to Huntsville Museum of Art or the High Museum in Atlanta and
yeah.
just have it there for like ever,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's interesting. Do you ever feel like like, especially in today's world and today's time and everything that's going on in the world, how do you keep creative and taking pictures and thinking about that in that way without, like, I guess, losing that creative side of yourself?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of ironic 'cause I feel like because of the turmoil, I feel like I'm more motivated to shoot than ever now.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I feel like we have to. I feel like we have to create art because I feel like the world is so trash right, not trash, but it's just so pessimistic and down. It's like the only thing that kind of bring that personally that brings me out of that is art, whether it's music, movies,
Yeah.
photography, whatever I can do to express that art to bring that piece of joy out. I feel like I have to do that for myself. And I feel like most artists will probably feel the same way. At least I hope they do. Now is not the time to just be too down in the dumps. But if you are down in the dumps, you can express that through the art too, and people will find not joy, but they'll find familiarity with that. They'll find a sense of hopefully it's not a sense of calm, but they'll hopefully they'll feel okay knowing that other people feel this way. So I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us feel this way, but a lot of us aren't finding the right ways to express it or we're expressing it through places all these things that have so many filters on it. Art, if done correctly, can take away the filter and really express authenticity in our feelings. And I feel like yeah, I feel like for the last year or so, I feel like I'm ready to just shoot whenever, wherever, especially if we're shooting reality like photojournalism. I feel like
Yeah.
photojournalism now is
A massive,
exact
totally important. I mean,
absolutely.
like we think about other times in history, and that's what we have to, like, recognize that these things actually happened, you know?
Yeah.
But how do you feel about like generative AI in that?
Yeah, I mean, because like I say, if you had asked that, if that was been the first question you asked, we would have ran out of time. I'm glad you made the distinction of saying generative AI because it's like what it can help do in the medical field. That's great.
Yeah.
Generative AI, creating creating AI out of nowhere, creating these pictures, these videos people are making, using data centers that are being put in impoverished communities, driving up people's electricity
Oh
bills,
gosh.
polluting communities, mainly Black and brown communities.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
working with it. I don't care what people say. I don't care how normalized people try to make it. I'm never doing that. I, if I can control it, I'm not working with it. The only type of AI I ever use is if I have a digital photo and it's noisy. I use the denoise feature in Lightroom, and
Yeah.
I looked it up. Apparently, it does not use generative AI. It
Mm.
just uses, I guess, a different type of AI. But as far as creating a photo from cradle to grave using artificial intelligence, no. I've had disagreements with friends. I've had outs with friends over them. I just feel like I feel like the main people who advocate for that, 9 times out of 10, they don't know how to express themselves artistically. They're
Mm.
not artists. They probably were shunned in their own art. This is a way for people who don't know how to do anything in the arts fields to find a way to do something and make themselves feel like they're on the same level playing field as
Yeah, it's just
actual artists. Because even if you type something yourself and it's crap, you learn something. You're going to learn something from the critique of it. You're going to learn something from what not to do. You're learning, and that's the part of art. Art is learning. You
yeah,
have to learn. Generative AI, you're not learning.
yeah,
You're giving a system the ability to learn for you.
I imagine you as a photographer, you are out in the world and capturing, moments in time, and that just cannot be created within generative AI. That's not the same thing. It's not going to have the same feeling. It's not
Mhm.
going to have the same expression, and it's not real. Like, it's hard to put it into
Mhm.
words. It's like, I want you people to understand, but
Exactly. And it's like, and people try to make it sound like it's just like another advancement in technology or whatever, but it's like art's been around for thousands and thousands of years, but in all art, you had to go out, live, experience it, and then put it back into whatever you're making.
yeah.
You have to go out, you have to do something. You
Mhm.
have to act, you have to move.
Make mistakes, have an opinion,
Mhm.
do it yourself kind of thing.
Exactly. And generative AI eliminates that, and when it eliminates that, it eliminates any meaning.
Mm,
And that's all I have.
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely awesome. But basically, as far as generative AI is concerned, I feel like people, they're just trying to cut corners like a lot of things
Yeah.
in creativity. And as someone specifically in photography, I can't imagine what that feels like. And like, are you doing anything as far as like marking your photographs as far as like saying don't use for generative AI or anything like that?
I haven't yet, and I need to start that. Yeah, I probably do because I feel like in general I probably need to start watermarking my photos and
Oh yeah,
like,
watermarking too.
but it's I guess I'm just still in an iffy space. So I'm thinking about like all the photographers I follow, like my favorite photographers in general, and I don't
Mm.
think none of them really would watermark their photos. I could be completely wrong. But I guess, but for AI purposes, I haven't started doing that yet. I feel like on social media, people who follow me in photography at this point, they know where I stand with it. So I hope
Mm.
they would know that it's my work doesn't include it. But I just, I think I'm not sure, but I feel like they need to start adding that to social media if they haven't already, adding like a thing that you can put on just automatically, just be like, no AI was used to make this image. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
I
that.
know I know Photoshop has an option, I think, when you export that will put your information on there and mark it as like do not use this image.
Okay.
And I think you can put your name on it or like your website on it or something like that. And that's like digitally in the image. It's not something that you see on the image. You know what I
Got you.
mean? So
Okay.
like it's like in the code or something. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know how it works. I asked my husband the other day. I was like, "Man, how's that work?" He's like, it's in there somewhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, because I do the same thing with my illustrations. I draw on the iPad and export them, and I'm like, oh man, digital art is another part of that equation where it's like
Yeah.
digital art, photography, these sorts of media that are online so much, it can be tough to protect it,
Oh
and
yeah.
keep people from taking it, manipulating it, saying it's theirs. I don't know.
Hmm.
I
Definitely.
mean, any of those things could happen. So you mentioned just now you were like some of your favorite artists, so or your favorite photographers. Do you have any from favorite photographers you'd like to mention?
Oh, for sure. Currently. I'll start with the local people. The
Yeah, yeah,
one
absolutely.
locally, one of my favorites, his name is Devin Holiday. He does a lot of I don't know how to describe it, just flash he does like a flash photography, lifestyle photography, I guess you
All
can
right.
say. He works at Sutherland's Photo. If you ever
Oh, no.
see, he's great, a great work. He's probably one of my biggest inspirations. Miles Whitmore. He's another photographer. He does a lot of concert photography. We actually were in a gallery together last year, along with a few other black photographers. There's a few other guys I know personally. Connor. Well, there's two Connors, but I'm slipping up on one of the last names. So,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Connors.
the Connors, the Connors.
Yeah.
They both work at Sutherland's too. So hopefully people know who I'm talking about. And then as far as, and I feel like there's probably some other people I know personally. Also in a photography club called the Huntsville Photographic Society.
Oh, yeah.
Basically every other person in the club is at least probably like mid 30s to 60s, 70s. All
Yeah.
of them, you when I tell you phenomenal photographers in their own right, like truly my work does not compare to theirs. They're all amazing. And then as
Wow.
far as like people who I watch, like who I'm like from a distance, there's this one photographer. He's from Detroit. His name's Volandis. I love his stuff. Another one, his name's Jonathan Pragus. I believe he's based out of the West Coast in Oakland or San Francisco. He has a YouTube video, King Japes. And then Volandis has a YouTube video as well. Volandis, Vuhlandes. Mike Gray,
Mm.
he's another black photographer. He's based out of the LA, Los Angeles area. And then as far as
Wow.
like
Cool.
all-time photographers, and if I'm hopefully I'll give the all-times and I'll wrap up. But all-time, Jamel Shabazz, I think it's either Jamal or Jamel Shabazz. He's based out of New York. He's kind of like one of the OGs as far as street photography. Andre Wagner as well. Tyler Mitchell, based out of Atlanta. He's phenomenal. He just had an exhibition. He has consistent exhibitions. I believe he was the youngest or either the only black photographer to have their photo be a cover image in Vogue when he shot Beyonce like in 2018,
Yeah.
2019.
That's
But and then Vivian Meyer, her story of she was like in the 40s or 30s. She was basically grew up her whole life. She was a nanny and she did like photography like
mm,
personal, and no one apparently a lot of people didn't know she did photography until she passed and all of her work was preserved. And then her work was
wow.
discovered years later. But I forgot
I
the name.
love stories like that.
Yeah, and they made a documentary about her a few
Oh
years ago.
yeah, documentary too. I gotta look
Yeah,
that.
but yeah, Vivian Meyer, she's
Yeah,
yeah, phenomenal.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I took everybody's names down. I'm gonna look them up.
Yeah, and
Um,
there's so many people because I didn't even mention like there's way more women I should have mentioned, but yeah,
it's hard sometimes to like
yeah,
narrow it down, especially when you're a creative person and you
yeah.
have a lot of people that you enjoy their
Yeah.
work.
But like I said, I'm gonna be kicking myself later. But those are like the immediate ones that came to mind. And I know as soon as I
Yeah.
get off, I'm gonna remember everyone else. I'm like,
I know. You'd be like, I can't believe I forgot that person.
yeah, 'cause I know some of them personally. I'm like, oh dang, like, yeah.
Well, tell me about your show. Is it an art show that's this coming week or a gallery
Mhm.
exhibition? Like, where is it at?
Mhm.
What part are you playing in it? And
Yeah.
how can
So
people
it's
go see it?
okay, yeah. So it's an exhibition and it's being set up by there is a group called the Curated Gallery. And the
Mm,
exhibition is for Black History Month, and the theme of it is joy without consent.
mm,
Basically, as far as I know, all the artists that have been selected are just showing works of Black joy, filtered, unbothered, and all in their own personal ways. So I have
mm.
5 pieces that were selected for it. It starts on February 12th and it runs through the end of the month to the 28th. And it's in the Mid-City District. I believe it's like I think I need to double check. I think it's in the same plaza as like the Viet House and Superhero Chefs. It's like
Yeah,
one of those, I think it's in that same plaza, but I know the address is on the flyer and I know it's near Mid-City. But yeah, so I'll be there opening night on the 12th and then I'll probably be there a few other nights.
nice.
But yeah, and this is actually the first exhibition I'll be doing where all the photos in it will be exclusively film. I've
Yeah.
always had a mix of digital and film, but this one is was they only selected the film photos. So
So the five pieces that got in, like what are those? Can you talk to me about those?
Yeah, so they basically all of them are just they have their black subjects just living life different ways and showing joy in different ways. Some of them are expressing joy through solitude, as we
Mm,
talked about. Some are expressing joy through dance, through movement, expressing joy in how we look and how in terms of how black hair, black aesthetic.
mm,
And then one of the pieces is actually a picture of my sister who also frames my pieces for me. So that's probably my favorite
nice.
one that's going to be in there. But yeah, all of them they're all basically kind of portraits of
Yeah, yeah,
black people in just different settings.
yeah. And so with these particular pieces, were they, spur of the moment shots that you captured or set up, or how did you do that?
It's funny you mentioned because I think I was thinking about this yesterday or 2 days ago. I think they were all trying to remember. Basically, they were all but one was spur of the moment, and the one that was kind of staged. I will say it was staged because I was like shooting it on assignment, but the shot I got was not one of the shots I had planned in my head. It was
Mhm.
all of them were like spur of the moment. Like I either saw this person, I either met this person for the first time, shot
Mhm.
them. People I knew, I was like out doing other things. I had a camera with me, and I was like, "Let me shoot you real quick." And then
Yeah.
we're just like, I saw something real quick and I was like, boom, like one of the pieces, I think it's probably my favorite piece in it is a picture of my sister with her hair and the back of her hair is shaped like a heart.
Oh, yeah.
And she was standing in front of a blank wall. And I saw the way her hair was. I was like, stay right there. Boom. It's like
Yeah.
very quick spur of the moment. All of them are, yeah.
That's cool. I think I saw that one. That one is a really good one. I thought that is genius. Makes it even better when it just happened, and it wasn't like something you like really thought hard on or something.
Exactly, yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of times my best photos, I do not remember taking them in the moment, like at all. Then
Wow.
I'm developed and I'm like, I shot that? Like I
Yeah.
truly, it's like amnesia. I don't remember. This is the only shot I've ever taken that I love that I remember. And as soon as I shot, I was like, this is the one. The only one I've ever
Yeah.
taken. I'm like that. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. So
That's awesome. So, where can people find your work online and get in touch with you and maybe purchase some of your prints?
quickest way to find me is probably on Instagram. My username is at not Professor X. I have a website. It's xavierisaac.com, XAVIERISAAC.com. Through there, you can find my print shop, but my print shop is through Darkroom. You can do
Oh, yeah.
notprofessorx.darkroom.com. And those are the main ways you can either reach out to me, see my work, or purchase my work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, how cool is this show coming up next week? That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been awesome. I really enjoyed it. I mean, you were spot on so many things. I'm just like, yes, he said it the right way. Everyone listening, make sure you follow Xavier and connect with him and support his work because you're doing real stuff out there. It's awesome. I love
Thank you,
it.
thank you. And this has been a complete honor, and you're doing real stuff as well, just giving artists platform in a city like Huntsville. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
enjoy it so much. And, getting to know your story and your thinking behind things. I mean, I don't know if a lot of artists realize that, how much that means, like
Mhm.
how much that changes for me personally, the experience of the work. So you're giving your perspective on why you're shooting the things that you're shooting and your feeling around it. That's awesome. I think it's really important to share. So thank you
Sure.
for talking to me today.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Art Talk with April. New episodes are out every Tuesday at 6 p.m.